Okay, the video you're about to see looks absolutely nothing like the original video I had planned. The video that's planned for this particular time slot really was me sitting down with a great friend of mine, Stephen J. Hood, talking to him again about his transplant journey, as well as talking to him specifically about a brand new book that he's just had published over on Amazon entitled Bitter or Better, It's Your Choice. And so what I wanted to do was just have like a 15, 20, 30-minute interview with Stephen, sit down, let you hear about the book from his mouth, from his perspective, and let him explain to you why you might be interested in the book. However, that interview was done on yesterday before I had personally been able to read the book. And so that interview was done by me sitting here ignorantly, not really knowing exactly what the book was about, and allowing Stephen, who's a man who has not 1 ounce of pride in his whole body, trying to urge you to purchase or to get a book that he's not going to self-promote. Fast forward. This morning, I intentionally got the book, put it over on my phone on a Kindle app, asked the Alexa app on my phone to read it to me because I'm dyslexic and don't read very well, and proceeded to listen to one chapter. I just finished a 195-page book nonstop. It was absolutely awesome. And so even though I'm going to show you a few of those excerpts from our interview on yesterday, and let me just tell you, the best decision you can make in your life right now is to pause the video, scroll down to the description below the video, find the Amazon link connecting back this book, go make a purchase, and then come back and you can listen to Stephen talk. That's the best thing you can do. I promise, far and away. You'll thank me later. What a wonderful, wonderful book, a wonderful story about a man who has been challenged in every single way in life, but continues to look to God in those challenges. Here's Stephen. Hey folks, welcome back to the Transplant Helper. Once again today, I'm excited to be with you again on yet a kind of sort of a My Story, My Words type program. I'm going to be talking today with a great personal friend of mine, Stephen Hood. He's been with us before on the program and shared his entire story, but today specifically, he's going to be sharing with us a brand new resource he has made available, as in my opinion at least, he's now become a world-renowned author in that he's actually written a book entitled Bitter or Better, It's Your Choice. Now, as an overview, and he'll tell us much more, basically this is a book that is about God's story, as he puts it. God's story because it's his story being told because God made it possible. He wants it to be a guide for us, kind of a reminder of not only the physical and emotional healing that we go through, basically as people, but more than that, the spiritual transitions and things that we go through in life. So, Stephen, again, I'm so excited, number one, to call you friend, but especially today, in this moment, to have you here on the program. So why don't you just start out by telling us a little bit about this book that you've written, and particularly why you decided to write it?
Well, I really have decided to write it because God put it up on my heart to do it. People have told me, I had from stage 4 cancer back in 2004. Write a book, and I've actually sat down before to start it, and it just never worked. It was like I know it was God just going, no, don't. And of all things, about 6 weeks ago, I was diagnosed with pneumonia, and I could not sleep. And so I was sitting in my recliner coughing one night, and the Lord just laid it upon me now, and I sat down at my computer, and really within 4 or 5 days, I had it written. It flowed because, as you said, it's not my story. All the way from 2004, my prayer has been to God that I would be a vessel that he can use, a worthy vessel, do his work through me. The book basically starts with my stage 4 cancer in '04, and I go through all the horrible things, the list of things that have happened that people have actually looked at me and jokingly said, "Well, you can't catch a break." But
Yeah.
They asked Jesus about why the man was born that way. Did his mother or father sin?
Mm-hmm.
And Jesus basically said, neither. This was done so that my glory can shine. That's paraphrasing, but
Right.
and I want people to read it and not from the understanding of seeing what I did, what I've gone through, but I try my best to put in there what God did in my trial.
Exactly.
And that He was working the entire time, and there have been blessings. And I have a dear cousin. I call him my cousin brother. He one time told me, he said, if God showed you everything He was doing, you would try to help Him and mess it up.
That is often, if not all time, the case. Now, you made
Yeah.
reference just a minute ago to 2004. The reason
Yes.
you're saying that is because the way my memory brings it up, you went through cancer, hip replacements, LVAD, transplant, and I've known you since the transplant part
Mm-hmm.
of this.
Right.
And then since that, even you've dealt with organ rejection and had a pretty severe case of COVID back a year or so ago. So this has definitely been a physical challenge. And what you're trying to tell us is this was a physical challenge that God allowed you to deal with spiritually, right?
Exactly. And my brother pointed out, all the things that Job went through. If you go back to the start point, God had to give Satan permission. And
That's
I'm
right.
not saying I'm Job, but I'm saying in my heart, I think I say God trusted me because these things happen because not, I think his story, if I ever uh, made his testimony look poor, then that would be on me to answer one day.
Yes.
So I firmly, and people do not understand. Everyone's seen my physical battle. There has been intense spiritual battles that I have fought for the last 18 years. And I put those in the book also because we so many times want to, why did God let that happen? And but that's not God. It's, if you believe in God, that's the other side. And
Yeah.
Satan is nothing but a liar and a deceiver and cause turmoil. And uh, it's been intense at times. That I think Satan wants to destroy my testimony because if he can destroy my testimony, then it will look poorly upon God.
Right. And that's an aspect of things that I'll be honest with you, I've never really seen that side of it as far as God is unchanging. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
He is, Him, Christ, they're forever the same. But at the same time, the perspective, the view that other people have of God oftentimes comes down to us and the way we
Yes.
live, and particularly in your case, in this situation, the way that you have reacted to those challenges, the way that you stood to those challenges. You mentioned Job a moment ago when his friends crowded around him and tried to get him to throw God out of the picture and just give
Yes.
up. That what have you done wrong? All the attacks they made on him. He it's literal proof now that we read the book of Job and we see God because of the way Job reacted, not because of every move that God made in that book, just the way
Mm-hmm.
that God moved Job and the way that
Exactly.
He's shown Himself before His friends. So I tell you what,
Yeah.
I am really excited about this book. I've got one already headed my direction, so I'm excited about it because I know some of your journey, I know some of your story, but a lot of times, as with any of us, you don't really know the struggles and the battles that are going on in the background.
Right.
You don't know. You see,
And,
like you said, you see the physical.
mm-hmm.
You often see the emotional, but seeing the spiritual side of people is a lot different and much more difficult to
Yes.
recognize.
I want this book to point people toward, quote, how I made it or
Mm-hmm.
how I faced these trials. And through that, God is always just like the Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. He's in the fire with you,
Mm-hmm.
and He's protecting. And that's what I want people from this book is, like you said, it's this is just an arrow pointing you toward the peace that I have that comes from reading the Word and understanding who God is and what He can do for you.
Well, like I say, I'm excited to read this side of the story myself, and you know, Stephen, you mentioned a moment ago sitting down in the chair with pneumonia and coughing one night. Folks, this is a 195-page book. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I know you haven't spilled all the beans yet, but it took some bean
No.
spilling to put out 195 pages of a book like this. So let me just tell everybody again,
Yes.
this book, it's Bitter or Better. It's your choice. Written by Stephen J. Hood is the way it's listed. I
Hmm.
think on Amazon. So I'm gonna put some links in the description below. You can go over and check that out. Like I say, anything that you choose to do, whether it's you can get the Kindle version, paperback, whatever is available at the time, will
Yeah.
definitely go toward hopefully doing some good and
Yeah.
extending the opportunities that have already been made available. In addition to
And what?
that, if
Yeah.
you've got any question at all, I know this is not my typical program, not my typical interview, but you got any questions at all related to transplant, we're here. More than that, if you got any question at all about your spiritual standing with God and what God wills for you to do to stand in heaven with Him one day, I definitely would love to sit down and talk with you about that. And so reach out. My
Yes.
number's going to be at the bottom of the screen. Text me, message me, whatever you have to do.
Anything proceeds is going to go back into ministry to reach more people.
Yes.
It's not myself. It's not for me to benefit.
Yeah. Oh, no, not for your profit, but God's gain. There is so much more. Click the link in the description below to get your copy of Bitter or Better. It's your choice.